I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Mustangs. Don't forget to stop by the Chipotle on Pearl Road on Wednesday, March 24th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and mention the fundraiser for SHS After Prom. They will be donating 33% of the proceeds. There's only 8 more school days until spring break, and seniors only have 37 more school days until graduation. Everyone else, hold on tight. You only have 42 days. Have a great Mustang Day.
Good morning, Mustangs. This is your friendly school psychologist, Mrs. Habercorn, and I am absolutely stoked to talk more about the district's model Mustang and its global competency. So this morning, I want to focus in on a couple of key elements in this area, and that's seeking cultural understanding and embracing diversity. See, the first part of this means that we're committing to seek out people and cultures who are different from our own. You know, lots of times we walk around and we just have this assumption that everyone around us has the same experiences as our own. But if we take a minute to really see those around us and really listen to their experiences, we can be pretty surprised at what we might find out. In order to do this, though, we need to take a really close look at what our own biases might be.
Implicit bias exists when we unconsciously hold attitudes towards others or associate stereotypes with them. For example, we often harbor negative stereotypes about others without consciously realizing that we do so. Implicit bias, which is also called unconscious bias or implicit social cognition, is a prejudice that is deep-seated within the brain, below the conscious level. Studies have demonstrated implicit bias against racial groups, genders, LGBTQ, and other marginalized groups. We may even be prejudiced against our own group, although we tend to favor our in-group with positive stereotypes and disfavor out-groups with negative stereotypes.
The immediate feeling you get or the immediate thoughts you have about a person, an assumption you feel, just anything you feel really stems somewhere from an experience you've had or your upbringing.
It depends on the region you're from, the country you're from, the background you grew up in. That shapes the person's unconscious bias.
One of my closest friends since high school, we've worked on a lot of projects together, we've been in a lot of classes together. Sometimes we'd be working together in a group project, for example, and she would say stuff like, oh, you're good at math, you're good at science, here, you can take this part of the project or something. I don't hold it against her or anything, and she doesn't mean any harm by it, but obviously there's that implicit sort of bias or stereotype that Asians are better at math and science.
Because implicit bias operates at a mostly unconscious level, it is difficult for individuals to overcome. No existing training regime has proven particularly effective at debiasing implicit bias. But, fortunately, some research shows that stereotypes can be unlearned, and that safeguards can be put in place to minimize their impact. For example, women used to make up only a relatively small percentage of the musicians in orchestras. But when orchestras began holding blind auditions, where the applicants played behind a curtain and their genders were unknown to the judges, the percentage of women chosen to play in symphony orchestras doubled. Perhaps we can put a dent in implicit bias after all.
These biases are sometimes so deep-rooted within us or within our culture that we don't even realize that they are biases.
We could have a mutually, beneficial conversation and really benefit from learning from each other and really understand that we're all not that different.
Listen, really absorb the experiences of those around you, especially those who come from backgrounds that are unlike yours.
Learn something new about a person, and then that will kind of help shift that bias because now you've actually asked that person or now you get to know that person.
So how about it, Mustangs? What's your perspective? And are you up for the conversation? Have a great Mustang Day.
Life is full of choices. Do we stay in tonight or go out? Should we paint the room white or maybe red? Are we in the mood for a funny movie or a scary one? But what if you had to choose between important bills and being able to eat today? Over 300,000 people in the greater Cleveland area have to do just that. The Greater Cleveland Food Bank helps provide for people in need. They serve approximately 277,000 people per year, with the goal that no one will have to choose between basic needs and a good meal. 64% of the people served by the food bank have to choose between buying food and paying their utility bills. 65% choose between food and transportation. 62% choose between food and medicine. And 54% choose between paying for food or paying for housing. Those are choices you never want to have to make. Go to greaterclevelandfoodbank.org to find out how you can help.
Here at Strongsville High School, we will be running our Harvest for Hunger campaign March 22nd through the 26th. In math class, you can donate money for a competition. The teacher who collects the most money will win a prize for their classroom and or their students. On Friday, duct tape Mr. Wingler to the wall during all lunch periods. A long piece of duct tape, approximately 1 yard, will cost you $1. We will start first on Wednesday with Mrs. Kramer. We hope that this is fun and that we can raise money to support those in need.